Hello, Just Played Loud Taavi's here. We're gonna talk about 1965 songs, and I'm here with my co-host for this brand new series, Andrew. Welcome again, Andrew.
Thank you.
Yeah, brand new series here. Um, I guess we are kind of doing this, picking our favorite singles of the year and favorite deep cuts. We're gonna call it basically non-singles. And then we're gonna pick our favorite and least favorite number one Hot 100 hit of that year, and we're gonna end it with our song of the year. And um, before we get to our five best singles of the year, we're gonna just quickly talk about what we think of 1965. Well, 19 for me, 1965 is usually thought as like that. Well, kind of the album art form is starting to grow, maybe would be the word. It's maybe a little bit more less about just the place to have your singles and just more like an art form. And with like proper soul and Beach Boys today and like these picks and uh if I'm thinking about already the single chart is wild. So many amazing songs. And Andrew and I thought about maybe the deep cuts were maybe somewhat easier to make. I think we kind of talk about it, or like if maybe less picks, maybe we have to think in some ways. I don't know. But yeah, uh, great year for songs, definitely. How about you, Andrew?
Yeah, I think it's a great year to common starting point for like looking at pop music beyond just the singles, but it really is loaded in the singles department and tons of stuff I like here. I'm a big fan of like 60s music, so you're kind of getting a lot of that kind of prime mid 60s stuff here. Um, I'm pretty happy with the five I have on both sides of it, the singles and the deep cuts.
I love my singles pick, and maybe I don't like completely love everything on my deep cuts. I don't think I've maybe listened enough 65, honestly.
It was tough though because it's the album. There's a few big albums, and if you're going beyond that, it's harder to find ones that aren't also singles, right?
Yeah, yeah, I guess that's my problem. I guess I should start with my five best singles of the year. We're picking five best singles, and that was released during this year, 1965. And basically, they are like single A sides or B sides that charted. The singles doesn't have to be charted. That's um that's like our maybe main rules. We had some other rules that I'll probably write down in the screen, but like those aren't like the main rules I feel for this. But yeah, I'm gonna start this one with my number five, which is a yeah very popular song. I Can't Get No Satisfaction by the Rolling Stones. Um, it's just especially like 1965, it like pretty rocked quite hard actually, and like well, I guess Stones still have maybe that a bit of that uh dangerous side for them still for the public, and I guess the title even is like I can't get no satisfaction. Pretty funny. And um, yeah, perhaps uh, there's maybe a little overplay for me, but I just gonna leave it out of my list still. Um, it's pretty kick-ass stuff. Number four, I have Tracks of My Tears by Smokey Robinson and the Miracles. Uh, just amazing vocals by Smokey. Um, I love the use of orchestration in this one. Uh, and just the brilliant songwriting and great backing vocals too. Uh, yeah, really can't. I have a few of these like R&B ones here, and next one is Nothing But Heartaches by the Supremes. Uh, written by Holland Dozier and Holland, the famous uh, songwriting group, and this is just very like upbeat and joyous pop slash R&B style of music, and I think like one of these 65 Supreme songs and even coming up, I think that is it just sounds so great. Um, I think the production is top notch and love their uh love like Diana Ross's lead vocals and the backing vocals by the Supremes, and just nothing wrong about this song. Uh, number two, I have another from the same group, Supremes. It's I Hear a Symphony, and another like HDH masterpiece, and like fantastic lead vocal by Diana Ross. I always loved the like busy beat that this song has. Uh, the drummer lays on, the rhythm section is awesome. I think pretty sure this is like the Funk Brothers, I think is doing the instrumentation here, and just love to put this on. It's so great. And my number one for this is Unchained Melody by the Righteous Brothers. Um, yeah, one of like I think this is a like a songwriting tour de force, and it has one of the I feel like one of the best vocal performances ever by Bobby Hatfield. And uh this is just another one of these songs that I just can't help but love. It's totally amazing, and love the like a dramatic way of presenting this. And yeah, it's almost I don't know, it's like a 1965 version of Power Ballad or something. Um, but yeah, that's my five songs. Not sure how many we have in common, but really excited to see what you have, Andrew.
Great picks. And I guess I'll kick it off with our very first match of the series. I had for my number five, Tracks of My Tears by the Miracles. Really good representation of like that Motown sound um, and scene in general. But what really, like, other than what you already said, what really makes it for me is that irresistible horn line on the chorus, just perfect. Um, my number four is probably the deepest cut of the singles because it is a B-side that charted. It is Please Let Me Wonder by the Beach Boys, which peaked at 52. You don't really think of it as a single at all, but I guess it got some play. Has a really pretty and haunting quality that I love about that second half of the album that it came from, Beach Boys Today. Um, just really nice. My number three is actually another one that you spoke about, Unchained Melody, the Righteous Brothers. And I really like how it has kind of that, like it's an older song. It has that kind of old school, like doo-wop ballad feel to it. But then you add in Bobby Hatfield's like soaring voice and then the lush like Phil Spector production, and it's just a perfect recording in my opinion. My number two is Like a Rolling Stone, Bob Dylan. Probably the most iconic song of the year, maybe in pop culture, for Bob Dylan in general, maybe. The organ work is fantastic, builds really nicely with a cool arrangement. Not really much more to say than what people have already said about it, but it's just a phenomenal song. And then that leaves my number one, which is Yesterday by the Beatles. I'm really big on melodies, and Yesterday is up there for like the brilliant melody department. Apparently, Paul was inspired a bit by a Nat King Cole song, um, and I think I've heard the song that that's based off of, and it's great too. But he really brings it to a nice level with like this understated sound, but then you have like the delicate strings going on in. Really adds a nice lush touch, kind of a lead into some of the Baroque stuff that the Beatles would, especially Paul, start to dabble in as the years went on. So yeah, those are my five singles.
Awesome. I think we had two in common with that. And yeah, just great songs you picked as well. I guess we have now the five best deep cuts of the year. And basically any song here works except what we just talked about in singles department, single A sides and charting B sides. And yeah, that's well basically it. And I had um, my number five is The Water is Wide by Fred Neil, which is this kind of maybe not usually maybe my cup of tea. This kind of very uh, man and the guitar, but something like this folky number, but something about that is just very almost like sad and melancholic to me that kind of works. And yeah, uh, I don't have much to say about it, but like I do like it. Then next I have a song from an album I kind of randomly listened to at some point. Um, it's a song by the Bill Prummel. I don't know how to say it. Prummels, maybe. uh, the song is called "Still in Love with You, Baby." It is just very um, again joyous and just a lot of fun. Like this little pop song. Um, I'm not sure if I'm like a totally into that uh, album, but like I feel like there's some nice songs in there. And my number three is a song that I first knew the Van Halen version, actually. Where Have All the Good Times Gone by the Kinks. Um, Another song that just kind of rocks, and I like the melody of it. And yeah, just another kick-ass tune. And then I have A Change Is Gonna Come, the Otis Redding version. Um, I I guess I love the Sam Cooke version more, but I think this is a totally valid version of it too. and I wanted Otis to come in some ways because I think that album is pretty great, Otis Blue. So yeah, can't fault. Change is gonna come for sure. And my number one is in theory maybe shouldn't be in my list because it doesn't definitely sound like my core of music, but um, it's Desolation Row by Bob Dylan. It's like 11 minutes long and just very man and a guitar, but I guess there's maybe there's like Bob Dylan also doing guitars, I'm not sure, but like there's an additional guitar that I just think is very lovely and lively, kind of like fill in the spaces. Uh, and I don't know, something about this song just it's kind of like it has a lot of many characters or something. It's almost I don't know, does it have a it almost just it maybe doesn't have a like a valid like story or in some ways, but just gives this let's introduce all the characters from this town or something and yeah, it has many verses. It really maybe doesn't have a chorus, but just something about it just puts me into the song very well. Yeah, that's my five best deep cuts of the year.
Yeah, very nice. I have to say that King's pick was my final cut on the deep cut side, so we almost had another match there.
Yeah.
So on my end, uh, I did a little bit of, pulling from some of my favorite records that didn't have that weren't the singles, but we'll see. So my number five was Norwegian Wood, the Beatles. It's my favorite song on River Soul. I'm not as typically as big of a lyrics person, but I really like a memorable story song, and I feel like that one is one that always kind of stuck in my head when I hear it, and got a really cool like folkiness, and then the sitar sound adds a little bit of like the early psychedelia sound. So it's a great song. My number four is "Ballad of a Thin Man," Bob Dylan. Certainly not like a love ballad, but more of like a lumbering bluesy thing, and backed by this really great arrangement, really good tension, and it leads to like that cathartic like Mr. Jones line. Um, so that's probably my favorite Dylan song the overall, even though I did also have a singles pick in there for him. My number three is Sinner Man, Nina Simone. This is really epic kind of mix of jazz and R&B, and Nina has a really unconventional voice too, and somehow it all works together to make this like experimental but also really accessible and cool sounding song. And it's like 10 minutes long or whatever. So um, definitely very different from most of the other picks on here. Um, but I think it's great. My number two is pulling another track from Today, which is Kiss Me Baby, just a beautiful ballad, lush instrumentation. I really love the vocal trade-offs that they do. Kind of feels like a song that maybe with some tweaks could be like a Pet Sounds type song for the next year. And then lastly, a song that I couldn't believe wasn't an A-side, I'll Feel a Whole Lot Better by the Byrds. I think it would have been a great single, but it wound up being a B-side that didn't chart, didn't make the Hot 100. So it does qualify, but to me, this is like a perfect mix of like folk rock, power pop, and then a touch of that like jangly sound that you kind of see resurface in like 80s kind of stuff. So yeah, that's my number one deep cut pick.
You definitely had a cool list in the deep cuts side two. Um, Now we're gonna do the favorite number one Hot 100 hit of the year. I counted correctly, 27 songs hit number one in 1965. Listened to them all and picked my favorite, and we're gonna do these favorites soon. Um, for my favorite, I picked "You've Lost That Loving Feeling" by the Righteous Brothers, and yeah, again, you could kind of say a lot of the same things I would say for the my Unchained Melody pick, but just the uh, amazing dramatic feel to this song, and love the uh, sound of it, and just just none of these like perfect kind of perfect songs for me. A lot of great songs in hit number one this year. How about you, Andrew?
Yeah, so like I would say like the vast majority of them are really great songs. So it was tough to come up with a favorite, but somehow we wound up with the same one. I also went with "You've Lost That Love and Feeling" by the Righteous Brothers.
Nice.
Would have made my list if it hadn't been technically a 1964 release first. Um,
Mm.
but it reached number one here and just incredibly arranged. The dynamics like between the two singers just works perfectly. Yeah, it's just a great song. Um, yeah, it was a tough battle between that and some of the other ones I actually had on my list, but I think that one would be my favorite.
Well, we had the same one. Nice. I'm not actually sure what you're gonna pick for your least favorite, but I just found it really annoying. So I'm picking "I'm Henry the Eighth." I am her by Herman's Hermits. Just felt like a totally almost unnecessary novelty tune. Um, just the way that he's they sing the Henry the Eighth, like there's like an extra E there. It's so and they just keep repeating it, and uh it's and just funny that this song stopped Satisfaction from being number one. Like I don't know what they're thinking about that. But yeah, I just like these novelty tunes are very hit and miss. Usually more to the miss side for me. I'm not really into them, but and definitely not this. Just yeah, very annoying for me.
Yeah, well, I guess we're just gonna match up because that's also my pick. I mean, it was a great field overall. I didn't think the other Herman's Hermit song was that very good either, but this one was worse. Cover of like this old like British music hall song and doesn't sound very good and like not very well sung or arranged, and it's just kind of like almost like a cheap nursery rhyme type thing. So it makes you wonder, especially stateside, why that song? Like it sounds like it's something that maybe could be like a British kind of thing that would appeal, but I don't know compared to what else was out there why it got there, but it did. And yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah. Um, yeah, honestly, I think the Herman's Hermit songs are probably my least favorite of this year. All right, cool. We just have our top prize left. So, song of the year. And I went with a tune you already mentioned, talked about. Um, I was like thinking a bit like is my between my favorite single and favorite and this like do I pick Unchained Melody or this next one? But I went with this. Um, it's like a Rolling Stone by Bob Dylan. Um, most likely my favorite Dylan song. Um, but at least right now it is. Always love the use of organ uh, by Al Cooper, and just love how Dylan sings like the "How does it feel" parts. It kind of has this uh, biting with feel to the lyrics, and like it almost kind of rocks in some weird ways. It's just like it's kind of like heavy sounding in some ways for its time. I guess the organ makes a huge part of it, but like just a cool song. And I'm not like maybe the hugest Bob Dylan fan, but this is just amazing stuff and very influential too. This song and perhaps the whole album. Yeah, like a Rolling Stone by Bob Dylan.
Great pick. So for mine, I going with an artist, probably not the last you'll hear of them from me. It's The Sounds of Silence, Simon and Garfunkel.
Mm.
Just really beautiful harmonies, a haunting song, and this is the electric version. They done a like a folk version the year before, and then it was basically like remixed for a single, adding in like this electric guitar. I really like the electric component that they add into it. You got drums, everything, just kind of like what Dylan did, going electric. You get that here with this song too, and I think it just works so well. Became a hit single from that, and I think it adds to that feel of that like mid '60s, like on the precipice of change, um, with those kind of competing styles working together like that. So, yeah, that's my favorite song, 65.
Oh yeah. Also, well, I didn't know which say you also prefer, but I'm gonna say that I prefer the electric version to the acoustic one.
Yeah,
Yeah, you agree. Yeah. And yeah, it's definitely a great song. Maybe not my like top favorites maybe by them, but like it's still well, it's a classic, even despite what I think. Yeah, cool. Yeah, that was 1965. It was this has been a fun start to this series, and we're gonna do this series like bi-weekly, and you're gonna get the 66 episode in like 2 weeks, and there's gonna be also other Just Play Loud stuff coming at some point, and we're trying to keep this more consistent and also like to have more stuff coming on the channel. And yeah, we want to hear your picks in the comments. Hopefully, we get people playing along with us, picking our songs. And yeah, gonna see you in this 1966 episode. So thank you for watching and bye bye.